I posted my first video when I was 8 years old. I have no recollection of my life not doing videos.
It wasn't money. In fact, I wasn't even thinking about money. It was always about trying to do something really great that excited me.
Don't get me wrong, I don't want to patronize anyone and say that money is not important, because money is very important, especially when I was 22-year-old, struggling to pay my mortgage, starting a business, and money is
Even if I go a week without thinking of making videos, if I go on holiday, I started getting really, really bad thoughts.
My wife ended up becoming a psychologist because of me.
Well,
seriously.
Hello and welcome to the second episode of the HeWord. This is my first real opportunity to say thank you to everyone who reached out after our launch. The messages, the conversations and the encouragement have genuinely meant a lot, and I couldn't be happier with the reaction the first episode received. But that does leave us with an interesting question. Was this first episode a success? And I'll leave that for you to decide, because today, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. Success. Because every man wants to be successful, but very few of us actually stop to ask ourselves, what does success actually mean? Is it money? Is it status? Is it freedom? Is it family? Purpose? Or have we simply accepted someone else's definition of success without ever questioning it? Research consistently shows that many people still tie success closely to their careers. Yet, at the same time, Europe records some of the lowest employee engagement levels in the world. In fact, only around 20% of employees globally say they feel engaged at work. And that figure drops down to just 12% in Europe. At the same time, being busy has become a modern badge of honor. So somewhere along the way, we've started treating exhaustion as a sign of ambition and long working hours as proof that we're successful. So what is the real definition of success? And do men define success differently from women? Joining me today are three people, three men, three successful men I genuinely admire. They're all successful, but for different reasons, and I'm looking forward to finding out whether they define success in the same way that I do. My first guest is a successful entrepreneur. Nearly 3 decades ago, he co-founded what has grown into Malta's largest pharmacy group. Alongside building that business into a household name, he's invested in football and also become one of the sharks on Shark Tank Malta. So please help me welcome Alexander Fenech. From now on, we'll call you Suni.
Thank you.
Right? Now, my second guest is one of my favorite local designers, although designer probably doesn't do him justice, because apparently I should be calling him a multidisciplinary artist and sculptor. His work has led to collaborations with some major international brands, and he describes himself as a curious creative. He has also spoken openly about how embracing his dyslexia transformed both his confidence and his career. And please help me welcome Mr. Zach Ritchie. All right, Zach? All good?
All good.
Brilliant. Now, for my third guest. Very few people knew the identity of a man behind the mask handing out cash simply to make people smile. And if you allow me to blow my own trumpet for a moment, I actually knew it was him all along. He's been creating content since he was just 9 years old, earning multiple YouTube plaques before launching his latest chapter known as The Briefcase Man. And please help me welcome Gabriel Tonna.
hey.
So, success, gentlemen. Let's grab the bull by the horns. We've introduced you as the Gabriel, but the Briefcase Man.
Whatever you'd like.
I mean, at this point, do people still call you Gabriel? Or?
I haven't heard of it in a while, I'm not gonna lie.
because
That's a bit weird sometimes.
because you started YouTube and you started experimenting with content from a very, very young age.
I posted my first video when I was 8 years old. I have no recollection of my life not doing videos.
Wow.
And is this what you always wanted to do?
I think it's the only thing I know how to do. So,
Okay.
yes, if I stop doing it, I'm in big trouble. If I don't make videos, my brain starts going to really nasty places. Even if I go a week without thinking of making videos, if I go on holiday, I started getting really, really bad thoughts. It's like an escape.
So can I say that somehow being a viral content creator was always the plan?
I think it was a plan, but it wasn't a plan that I chose. It kind of just happened to me.
Okay.
There was a while where I didn't post. I didn't make content. When I was like 17, 18, 19, I wasn't really posting as much. I was kind of going through like a really rough patch, even mentally. And like I was just really not talking to any friends. And I kind of locked myself away in my room. And I wasn't making any content. And I was going to therapists and psychiatrists. I was on all these kinds of different medications. And I was trying to like figure out what was wrong with me. Like some psychiatrists said I had ADHD, some said I had depression, bipolar, all these terms. I didn't know what was wrong with me, but now I kind of understood. I just wasn't making content.
Okay.
It's weird.
The funny thing is, did you picture yourself back when you were younger doing the kind of content you do now? Because, I mean, we know you've collaborated with people like Mr. Beast and whatnot.
I used to work for him.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it is a kind of different type of content, right, than what you're doing now. I mean,
For sure.
There
It is
is
similar.
There is. I see similarities between with what Mr. Beast does and what
Yes,
you do,
definitely.
and the philanthropic side of it. But it's a very different approach. So you've grown up very quickly. You've matured very, very quickly from the Mr. Beast kind of approach to what you're doing as the Briefcase man.
Yes, and I appreciate it. I think Mr. Beast was definitely an inspiration for me. Even getting to understand like how audience retention works, how every little bit of the video works, like even the first frame, the coloring, just everything, like every small detail. I remember like having friends when I was like as young as like 14 years old. We would just be on calls for hours on hours, and then it would turn into days and weeks. And I remember I would go to sleep, I would wake up again, and the call would still be going on. Like we'd just be studying how to make viral content. And I feel like when I was younger, it was kind of a taboo to like make videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
You kind of would get bullied for it. Now it's cool to be like an influencer and have like a followership. So I feel like I got lucky in that aspect. That society kind of caught on to it, and now it's kind of cool.
At which point did you say, okay, I'm a success now?
I still question it to this day. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay.
I think it varies from day to day. I think my definition of success, if you had to ask me, would be impact. Not really views or likes or comments. It's impact. Because if I get like 100,000 views on a video and no one walks away from it, at least being a bit happy or being a bit inspired, that 100,000 views is just a number on the screen. And I think it's the same with money as well. I think like you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't use it to do an impact and to actually leave an imprint on people, then it's just numbers
You
on the
just stole
screen.
my thunder now.
I don't know. I want to know your take on
Because
this specifically.
in fact, it's one of the things that I wanted to speak to Suni.
First of all, it's great that you can do what you're really passionate about.
Thank you so much.
Your passion exudes from you every time you open your mouth, right? So I think it should be everyone's ultimate goal to actually pursue something they're really passionate about. Unfortunately, most of us are not as lucky as you and don't get to make a living from what we are truly passionate about.
Right.
But I think...
But did you always want it to be what you are today?
Of course not. I mean, I wanted to be a musician. Till when I was doing my first degree in university and people were already looking at part-time jobs in the sector, I was practicing guitar. I was sure I'd be a rock star. Yeah, I looked very different then. I had very long hair. You know, I looked.
But you
apart.
are a pharmacist, right?
So I'm a pharmacist by accident, right? It was my plan.
Oh, by
B.
accident, okay.
Yeah, I mean, when it came to look, my parents sacrificed a lot to educate me. So I felt that just pursuing music without getting a degree to pay them back for the faith they had in my potential.
But something must have happened at a point where you were just saying, okay, you know what? I'm not going to be just happy with the one pharmacy I'm in.
Oh no, that's different. No, that's a different matter altogether. Once I scrapped my my pursuit of a musical career, and I committed to business, then it was never going to be a small endeavor.
Okay.
I have
go big or go home.
No, I have a business partner, and believe it or not, the discussion of money never came about, right? When we're thinking about building Browns. It was about building something that would outlive us being involved in it.
Okay.
So, and you know, we didn't look the part of your traditional business person, right? The first time we walked in a bank, we both had very long hair. I mean, and then what did we want to do? Sell actual legal drugs, right? We looked like we could sell the other drugs. But luckily at the time we found a bank manager who really saw
got
beneath, he saw two very smart individuals. And what music taught me and what football taught me before, when I was a, quite a good football player when I was in my early teens, is that if you want to do something, you have to become an expert in it. So before we actually started our business, I paid my study dues and I did an MBA. So we really knew what we were doing, right?
But was business part of your family growing up?
No, my dad was a school teacher.
Okay.
My mom was a stay-at-home mom.
So you didn't feel the pressure to follow the footsteps of your dad?
No. My dad was a truly humble person. 2 days before he passed away, he told me, son, when are you going to stop being a hamster? And I thought, maybe the morphine's kicking in and what is he saying? And what he told me was, look, he saw I was baffled. And he said, the way we brought you up, if we have 99 cents of expenses and €1 coming in, we're wealthy. Stop. Who's going to be you? I was sitting by his bedside when you are me. And that's when I thought, maybe it's about time that I grew up and, start a family. And I was 44 at the time. It will be 12 years this year. But no, I grew up, I was brought up by the best parents I could have aspired for. My dad, like I said, was a school teacher. My mom was a driver behind, me and my sisters becoming the people we actually became. She wanted us to be very well educated. And I grew in a humble, we had everything we needed. I didn't board a plane till I was 20, right?
Right.
Because, for my parents, if I wanted to get private lessons for chemistry, no problem. So then the priorities were a bit, they had the priorities right. But on my maternal side, my grandfather was quite a successful industrialist.
Okay.
He built one of Malta's largest manufacturing concern. It was called Carta Converters. They made paper products. My mom always says that it was other people's shit that educated me. But
so was he a role model for you?
He was, in fact, when it comes to giving back, right? It's where I got it from primarily. I remember as a 10, 12-year-old kid, I would drive around with him. He would be donating money, food to these convents, to the Bon Pastore and Attard. I used to be with him for doing things like signing contracts for buying land, to giving things away, right? So that's where I always say I'm a capitalist with a socialist heart, don't get me wrong, I don't want to patronize anyone and say that money is not important, because money is very important, especially when I was 22-year-old, 24 years old, struggling to pay my mortgage, starting a business, money is incredible.
There's
importance.
a saying, they say money isn't everything until you don't have it.
Yeah, my money, but once, in my opinion, the money is like the entry level, right? That's the base goal you should have, financial independence. Okay. And like my dad said, then once you reach that, then it gives you the freedom, to pursue really whatever you want to pursue. But first of all, you need to, I don't know if you guys heard about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You need to cover the basics, right? Your physiological needs, your safety needs, and then you can start living an empowered life. That's what we should all be aspiring to, right? Leading an empowered life in whichever pursuit, gives us satisfaction. So for me, these days, success, first of all, it's highly personal. My idea of success is not yours, probably. And it's highly linked to wherever you are at in your life cycle, right? At the age of 55, I have to share Gabe's, idea of success. It's about making an impact.
So it was like when you first started your business, what was your idea of success? Was it first for the money, or
can I just say something in Maltese? Me and my business partner always said the same thing. Namlu hos.
All right.
It wasn't buying that nice fancy car.
Impact, which is what we
wanted to build something that's bigger than
you,
us.
Than you guys.
Yes, and in fact, in Browns. Can I plug in Browns?
Of course you can.
Browns is one of the most recognizable brands in Malta now. And it wasn't an easy path. It took us quite a while. But
did you ever imagine it would be this
Of
big?
course I did. Yeah, of course I did. You should always, I really believe in manifestation, act as if. I always acted as if, I was a successful businessman. Even when, the bank was threatening to take my home, I was 6 payments behind on my car payments, no worries, act as if.
Okay. Zach, what was the dream growing up for you?
Before that, I want to say, where did that come from? The manifestation. Who did you learn it, or how did you
I just, me and Rob is my business partner. By the way, we met when we were 8 years old in year 3 or 4 at De La Salle College.
Okay.
That's
Right?
crazy.
And we actually followed very similar paths. We grew up in very similar environments. And
You want to be a musician as well?
initially, yes, but he quit before me. He was more grounded
So
than
this
me.
could have easily been a band.
Sure, we were in a band
Okay.
together. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But we always, we knew, even though the odds were stacked heavily against us, right? We knew we would come here. Don't tell me how and why, but we knew. We were very confident. We were betting on ourselves. We were very confident that we at least trained ourselves to be give ourselves an edge. I don't want to be arrogant or bombastic, but we gave ourselves an edge by really educating ourselves in business. We avoided making mistakes that perhaps people without
Experience.
business education would tend to make, right? And like you, we had to pivot. We started in an importation business, and we discovered, these pharmacy, they're really powerful. Imagine we could have a whole group of them. That's how it started.
But interesting. So it's like you found a gap.
Yeah.
You went in one direction, but you found out.
It was so difficult for us when we started importing. We found so many obstacles that we decided, why don't we cross to the other side and be the guys gatekeeping, right? And we bought the first pharmacy. We experimented. Saturday afternoon was a fun session. We used to go to Andrew's Bar in St. Julian's, have a few beers, get some ideas and try them out. And keep the ones that worked, right? And some of those ideas are still in place today in our SOPs. We have 2 SOPs, and some, I can go back and say, that afternoon in St. Julian's. Yeah.
Zach, let's introduce you a bit. What was the dream growing up? I mean, did you always want to be a creative, an artist?
Yes, always. For me, I didn't have a clear picture of what I actually wanted. All I knew is that, like, in school, I felt very different. I kind of felt a bit like out of place because I had dyslexia. Even I still remember going to the doctor and the psychologist, and him telling me, like, listen, he has dyslexia. Speaking to my mom, and I told my mom, like, what does that mean? And she told me that means that, you're going to have extra time in studying. And I still remember telling her, like, Mom, why the hell would I want that? Why would I want more time to do my tests and all these things? So I was always treated a little different in school, and it kind of made me feel a little out of place. So I would say I was like a little not as confident as I should be. And art and creativity was something that really made me feel empowered. It put me in a feeling of flow. Maybe you can understand it, or maybe you can understand when you're editing a video. It put me in this state where whatever I was creating, as crazy as it sounds, it kind of made me feel like an equivalent of a small god. I create something, and you just build on top of everything. And it gives
Who
you
were
more.
your heroes back then?
My heroes were actually people in music, artists. My first hero was actually Jimi Hendrix.
I have a huge Jimi Hendrix painting. One of the last paintings was Mark Malia did.
Okay.
It's a huge Jimi Hendrix painting with a real guitar there. You'd love it. I'll have to show it to you.
I am a big fan of Jimi Hendrix, and I am a kind of person, I get obsessed. When I like someone, I become super obsessed. And that's when I started playing guitar. Jimi Hendrix's story that he could play the instrument like he's speaking a language just drove me crazy. The guy could play behind his back with his teeth. So for me, I didn't know what I wanted. I just liked drawing, and I knew I was really good at it. And I just used to even play around with things around the house and just make things. And I still remember it was my cousin who came up to me and told me, like, listen, you know that this can be a career path. And that's
How old were you at the time?
I was around 12, something
Okay.
like that. She told me there's this thing called graphic design. She told me it was still new. I still remember going on the internet, the graphic design.
What is graphic design?
And still there wasn't a clear definition. You just see these banners, these ads. And it was, I would say, it's like a lot of layers building on top of each other. And a lot of things that happened, like going to art school. But I just knew that since I'm a product of the 90s, I just loved cartoon characters. And when watching cartoons, I just used to feel just so empowered, and I used to see so much possibility. I used to say, this is so cool. Like, it's a human figure, but it's almost like Picasso because it's so abstract. And then they can stretch and they can exaggerate things. And I wondered if I could take that on.
Take care and nourish your body with pure, ethical, organic vitamins and supplements. Browns, empowering wellness by prioritizing your health.
I just feel alive. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I got that lifestyle, I'm fierce as hell. That brand top model, that husky fast throttle. Living it up, you know I don't eat. It said I just feel alive. 'Cause all I got is what I am and I'm on fire. And what you want is what I am, baby, that's fine. What all the kids said, I just feel alive.
Wellness looks different for everyone. For some, it's the energy of an early morning workout. For others, it's the morning hustle. Or the joy of a delivery arriving just when they need it. It's the little rituals and big moments that bring balance and health to our lives. Because wellness looks different for everyone. Holland and Barrett.
For me, it's funny because I was a Zach Ritchie fan before I knew who Zach Ritchie was. I used to love the drawings when there was a collaboration with Charles and Ron. This is actually one of my favorite hats. I remember saying, I want that hat. I want that cat.
So the cartoon figure is your creation.
So
Okay,
my project that
And these characters have been with you now for I don't know how many years.
since 2018.
So I think, I note one similarity between us, In my 30s, I was actually diagnosed with Asperger's disorder. I
Don't
think
mind me asking, what is that exactly?
it's a kind of autism that manifests itself in I mean, when I started playing guitar, I didn't just play guitar. I was playing 12 hours a day, right? When I got into business, I didn't just do my MBA. I read every business book in existence, right? And I think we share an obsessive,
I think
compulsive
we all-
approach to whatever we chose to do, right? I because hearing you speak, certainly, I don't know if you planned this, but
Well, there is some planning.
So I mean, I think, but this is success at a different level than what I think you want to present on the program. But I think to be truly successful in whatever path you choose, you need to have a form of like obsession, right? Because the odds are so heavily stacked against you that to persist, you know, you need to get up every time you hit and floored, and I think that's I notice a common trait. I without knowing these, I've never met these two gentlemen, right? But I sense a connection with
I think
them.
you have to be borderline a bit sick almost.
Well,
It's crazy.
but
Is part of this obsession as well coming from the fact that maybe we as men feel we need to be the providers, we need to be the money makers?
I don't think so. Look, I was brought up by a very strong woman. I am surrounded. Most of my management team at Browns, as true they can attest, is female. No. I just wanted to. In the little I know very little. I know a lot about very little, but in that little that I know, I do want to strive to be the best. Not the best in the world, the best version I can possibly be of myself, right? The best I can be at it. So, I think
I can really relate to that big time. For me, it was pretty much the same thing. It wasn't money. In fact, I wasn't even thinking about money. It was always about like trying to do something really great that excited me, getting really curious about something. And I don't know how to explain. It's like you're discovering something and you're getting closer when you're like when you're doing something and you're getting a reaction out of it. it just creates an addiction that you want to keep on doing it. Like, I can completely understand you when you're saying that you're suffering like withdrawal
Yes.
from not posting or not sharing. Like,
experienced that?
I experience that if I don't draw. Sometimes I question my life. I say,
Yes.
why do I feel so off? You know what I mean? And I try counter it by reading and what do you call it?
Doesn't work.
It's an addiction. You know what I mean? In a sense, maybe because we attach an identity to it, but
Perhaps.
it is something that we crave because we do it so often.
Can
kind
this
of
obsession become unhealthy? do you think?
I think that's what I was going to say. I mean, I'm a bit older than these two guys, right? And what can happen is that you get into a cycle where, I mean, I went for years where my brain literally never shut down. It was impacting my sleep. Obviously, my performance during the day would be affected. You know, so you have to be careful. I think you somehow have to draw a line to be successful about, you know, in your chosen field. You have to be passionate, but I think you have to draw a line somewhere. Sometimes you have to have a life outside what you do, because I went through years, like over a decade. My brain never stops.
And it affects relationships. It affects.
Sure. I mean, my wife ended up becoming a psychologist because of me.
Well,
You know, seriously.
Well,
Yeah. So you have to be careful. I
do you
mean, you're
think
still young.
do you think it's okay to be unbalanced for a while though?
I think who's normal, right? You know, who's
Exactly.
balanced. You know, I have to meet the balanced person, the perfectly
Because in
balanced
theory,
person.
what is balanced? You
Yeah,
know?
what is balance? I mean, I like quirky. I like being. I mean, because of my condition, when I was young, you know, I knew I was different. You know, my mom nicknamed me the Strump. My dad was a teacher, but he only came twice to Parents' Day. The first time I went to De La Salle, and the last time, and they told me practically the same thing, just 10 years apart. Your son, he's intelligent, but he's never here with us. You know, he's somewhere else. You know, he's fantasizing about something else. But you know, so I think being quirky is nice. Not in the end of the day.
so if one of your sons, you start seeing these obsessive traits that you talk about in him, how would you react? What would your advice be?
Look, I'm a.
Because you've obviously seen that it's brought success.
In the
whatever
words of
way to
my own children, I'm a chill dad.
call it. Okay.
Right? I want to be a great. I want to be a beacon of guidance. Right? I don't want to impose my ideas, my thoughts, on their development. Of course, they see, they hear. You know. So my eldest son is very similar to me. Very quick, very good with numbers. You know, he's already thinking about. He wants to start a competing podcast, by the way.
Okay. I mean, go for it.
And
Why not?
But he doesn't have the time at the moment. But my youngest son, my youngest is very different. He's very different, very different. He's fearless, long hair. He looks like hippie already at the age of 8. You know, he doesn't follow what is
The norm.
perhaps expected out of normality, out of what you say balance
Yes.
before, you know. So I don't think I would want to in any way change that.
Now, behind every success, there's 10 failures, and if not more. And I think all of us in here had to pivot at some point, had to I don't know, change plans, change tacts, change strategy. And I still remember one of the keynotes that I was listening to from you once, where you spoke about this, where you built this idea of where you wanted to take your vision, but suddenly you had to pivot.
Yeah. So just to give a bit of context, guys, I had this big dream of turning Malta. How many times we hear Pais and Mickey Mouse? I happen to love cartoons. Malta is an amazing place. And I said, why don't we just turn our culture into cartoon characters? And what I mean by that is there's 2 benefits for the tourists and for the locals. For the tourists, they get to see our culture in a different light. They get to interact with it. And for the locals, they get to see something. We take it for granted, you know what I mean? So if you present something, pop art, something new in a different way, they look at it and they appreciate it in a different way. So I had this amazing idea and I created, in my head, this exhibition. in 2018, where I somehow tried to visualize a Disney for Malta. And it did super well, the exhibition. It was described as being like a wedding reception. And from that, it just created this cocktail of more ideas for me. I wanted to create merchandise, I wanted to create toys, and it just created a new obsession for me. And from 2018, I slowly stopped graphic design, which was something that was generating me income. And I pivoted completely into this goal. And I came across this, I'm going to be extremely honest. Another goal that I really wanted was to create sculptures. And I have no idea how to do it. And there's a beauty in that, because when you're naive and you think you can do stuff, you end up doing it, but you end up doing it in a different way. Which is a beautiful thing that I saw happen, and I can say has happened to me. So I started asking my friends who are architects. I told them, how do you create a big monument? Because before I started doing the toys, I want to create something big. And they told me you have to apply for a tender. And I still remember, they told me there just so happens to be this Marsa Junction. I applied for it. I put my hands in my pockets. I paid for architects. We created this beautiful branded proposal. I presented it, and I got no answer after several months. After calling them, I said, I really want to get, like some feedback. They told me, listen, Zach, they told me, you were serious about this? They told me, yeah, we thought it was a joke. Why you tell Mickey Mouse? Like, I told them, no, I'm serious. I still remember feeling very sad. And after a few weeks, I said, okay, I take this proposal.
What was the sculpture of?
The sculpture was of that character that you're seeing. His name is Beppe, and he represents the prickly pears of Malta.
Okay.
He's very curious, very adaptable, and he's also kind of like a bit naive.
There was a point where this character got you into trouble with one of your
Yes.
idols, right?
That's another story.
Okay, we'll get back to
Because I've done so many. The amazing thing about not knowing what you want in life is that you show up every single day, you do something, and you learn from it. And I've done many things, and I've learned from them.
You've had a lot of lessons.
I've had a lot of lessons.
Okay, let's continue with the Marsa Junction story.
Sorry, it's quite a long story, but after that, I said, okay, I have this proposal. Maybe they weren't the right people. Maybe there's someone who would appreciate it. And I still remember seeing this beautiful property, the Mercury Tower, and I said, wow, it's designed by Zaha Hadid. And I started thinking, I'm like, what if maybe Beppe belongs there? It's a contemporary building. Beppe is a contemporary character. He represents our landscape. He represents culture. And I sent an email, and they said, oh my God, count your lucky stars. What are the odds, that we're looking for someone to do a
So you're
sculpture.
actually there?
They're actually there.
Okay.
And I had this pitch. I presented the idea. From 15 minutes, it turned out to be 3 hours. And the person behind Mercury said, holy shit, Zach, let's do it.
Okay.
And I still remember going home and saying like, this is actually going to happen. And then after this happened, I said, fuck, I have no idea how I'm going to make it happen. I don't know how to make it. And when you say yes to things...
So far, it's all a dream, right?
It's all a dream. And people, in life, especially the arts, you need to have someone behind you who's backing you. You need to have a Patreon, and he really invested in the project. So he invested in the project, Mercury, and I said, okay, let's do it. He also mentioned, the guy behind Mercury, that would you be open to doing a shop around the characters? And I said, yes, sure. And we said, okay, let's have a shop, but it needs to be filled to the top, this shop. We said, yes, okay. I'm telling you, I spent 2 years doing all the things I never thought I could do. We created in 2 years 5 sculptures made in bronze, and we created over 400 different unique products.
That's crazy.
Fantastic, huh?
And it was done within 2 years. I still remember asking local foundries, can you do me the sculpture? How long will it take? And they had told us it takes around a year for each. So you feel 5 years. I ended up meeting things when things are aligned, beautiful things happen.
Yeah.
And I remember one day I was doing jiu-jitsu with this person, and he was wearing the t-shirt of my favorite artist. And I said, dude, I love your t-shirt. He told me, listen, add me on Instagram and let's have a chat. Once I added him, I found out this guy works for my favorite artist. And I still remember getting the biggest goosebumps ever. And it was him who helped me get the manufacturer and the foundry for the sculptures. So it's like all these things aligned. The emailing, and they said, we're looking for it. The doing the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I found the manufacturer. Everything fell into place. But there came a point where obviously the person backing me and helping me out obviously is in the property industry and he wants to see a return. But this is a long-term business, and one shop is not going to be enough. So after 7 months after opening the shop, we decided to close it. We had a discussion together. We acknowledged everything and we said, listen, let's close the shop. We let go of 9 people. We closed the shop and we decided to pivot. What we ended up doing is we're getting more inbound requests from businesses and companies saying, listen, we'll have your products. Can we sell them? And we said, okay, maybe we should start listening. And we decided to team up with Heritage Malta, Odyssey, and all these companies and distribute all the stock all around Malta.
Sorry, I'm going to stop you. How did you feel when you had to take the call to close the shop? How did that
I'm
feel?
going to be very honest with you. It was the first time I suffered such an identity crisis that I went for the first time ever to therapy because I couldn't understand it. I kept on associating the closing of the shop as me being a failure. And after going to therapy, it made me see things clearly. Because once you obsess about something, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you can really cage yourself in. But once I realized...
Were you at the point where you were saying, listen, I think, okay, I'm done being an artist. I'm done with Beppe.
No. No. I literally had to step away. I took a few months to really try and calibrate myself. I ended up thinking why is it a failure? But therapy really helped me. I did a few sessions and they really helped me gain clarity. But it was one of the hardest things I've ever been through. That thing that once you spend so much time doing something, and especially these characters, I spent so much time with them. Even I still remember when I went to the therapist, I thought she's probably thinking I'm crazy. I told her I have these 5 characters.
My friends, I draw them.
Whenever you put your heart and soul into something and it doesn't work out, obviously there's a big hit that happened to me in football. You know, I was, for as long as I remember, Valletta Football Club supporter. For many years, I ran the club. And we won a lot. But then I was also the president when the club got relegated. And that for me was a very traumatic experience. I spent for the first 4 months, I barely left the house. It's but...
So despite being, successful in other fields,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you're putting your life and soul into something, and for many years I prioritized the club over my family, over my business, over my friends, over anything. I was so, into it. And for that to happen under my watch, for me, it just was unthinkable. And
But it happened under your watch, but it's not like you were the coach, right?
No, it doesn't matter. But ultimately, you have to assume responsibility. The buck stops with you. I was not involved in the selection of players, etc., etc. But, the buck stops with you. It has to stop somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. And I felt responsible for what happened. And it was very traumatic. It took me a long time to recover. It's been over 2 years now. And I can only say that recently I started,
So in your head, it was your fault?
Of course.
100%?
Of course.
Do you still think it's your fault now?
Look, it will always be a stain in my career, and because I love the club, I love it.
And you still do?
I still do, of course I still do. It's something, I learned a lot out of the process. I recognized the mistakes I did that actually eventually led us there.
Regrets?
Regrets of taking.
So, but do you regret, for example,
I
taking
regret
over the club? Do you regret?
No. I was there when I think we won 6 leagues during my time there. 4 of which I played. I can't say I got the leagues myself, but I was very instrumental. So I have 0 regrets about being involved. I learned. My biggest regret is that because a football club is largely an emotional endeavor, I let my emotions take over the logic. I did not run the club like I run my business. It wasn't, honestly, you would not recognize the same person. Doesn't add up. The person that built a business to the scale, and the person who was there, entirely different
And
people.
probably the
because
possibility of Valletta being relegated never even crossed
never
anyone's
crossed my mind either. But my when you let emotions get the better out of you, that's when failure happens and it hits you hard. So Zach's feeling when he had to close a shop, it was all emotional because logically he did the right thing.
But do you regret opening the shop in
no.
the first place?
So the therapist asked me these two questions, and I want to ask them to you. Maybe it might help. What is it that you gained
Well, through football.
through
Through my involvement in football, I actually built quite an important network of acquaintances. For many years, Rob and I lived very much in our own world. We didn't even interact with the people in the pharma industry. We just were different. And football exposed me to many new realities. Again, because it's not an entirely, it's not a business. It's not something that, things are not done in the right way in football by any means. So it exposes you to a new way of thinking, to people from different backgrounds as well. You tend to surround yourself with people who are very similar to you. In many ways, but when you're in something like Valletta Football Club, which is an institution, after the political parties, I think it is the strongest institution in the country, if I may say so. It exposes you to a lot of things that I would not have been exposed to in the course of growing my business.
So it sounds like you met really cool people,
I'm not always cool.
interesting people,
Very interesting.
and great and possible opportunities. But what is it that you lost then?
It's funny when it comes to stuff like football, where there's a lot of emotions. People forget the positives that you achieved, and they will always remember you for that one negative.
Yeah.
So, we move on.
How did you deal with it though? That dark period. We know Zach went to therapy. What did you do?
Well, I'm a product of the 70s. We don't do therapy, right?
I'm going to be honest with you, Alex. I'm going to be very honest. I was very close-minded before, and I used to say, no, I don't need to go to therapy.
I have since, I'm just joking about it, but I have since had therapy. I was explaining before you came, actually, that I did something very special recently. I cannot talk about it because it's highly personal. But I initially badly, but then I discovered that me not being in football, all of a sudden I had all this time to get to know my children, to spend more time with my family, to refocus my attention on the business. And it just, all of a sudden, all my creative juices went back to focusing on the business and on my family. And especially on the business side, we acquired a company in the UK. We launched 3 new brands in the UK. So it all came in the summer. In summer, normally I travel. I leave Malta for summer. I still work and everything, but and everything started hitting me pretty much after 2 months of depression, really intense depression. Then I don't know. I mean, my wife helped me a lot. She's totally disinterested in business, and she's very spiritual. So she walked me through the painful journey back to reality, and eventually, little by little, but business and rediscovering my family. Within months, I stopped drinking as well for a while, which helped me a lot, because I had no reason to. In reality, running a football club of that size is so problematic that once in a week, once every fortnight, I needed to do a lengthy liquid Friday lunch, and before I knew it, it would be 8 in the morning.
So if one of your kids says, "You know what? I think I'm gonna try run Valletta Football Club."
Fuck no. No, not anymore. No. I mean, my kids love football. Just play it, enjoy it. It was a great experience. Like I said, I mean, I love the club. I've loved the club since I can remember. So, and for me, it was an honor, truly an honor to serve. But the football world is
also a very-
it's too complex, man, and it's too. I can't speak. I can't speak.
They said investing takes time and effort. Personally, I like the part where BOV does it for me. The value of the investment can go up as well as down, and past performance is not a guarantee of future results.
Are you still running your business using spreadsheets, multiple tools, and your memory? There's a better way, and that's Guru Edge. Automate the boring shit. The follow-up emails, invoices, debt collection, the admin that eats up your day, and let's face it, nobody actually enjoys doing it. Track your leads, pipelines, and team performance in one central place, while your automations are already following up, chasing payments, and keeping things moving without you. More clarity, more control, that's Guru Edge.
It's funny because you speak about how you got emotional and how you didn't deal with the football club in the same way that you deal with your business. And when I speak about emotions and I look at you, I remember the thing that a lot of people mention about you, which is when you got emotional for being nominated, for being recognized
Yes.
for an award. And
It
you
was a
were,
bit-
yeah, and you were, I mean, I'm going to use the word bullied because you were bullied for crying.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of expect it, which is crazy, that the fact that I even expected it. But
So you knew that letting your emotions out
I
there
knew
and
100%.
and being vulnerable
yes, 1000%.
was going to get
and that was
reaction.
the harder part.
So did
knowing-
you do it for the views then?
No, I did it more for, I know that I'm gonna get hate for crying on video, but am I gonna let that stop me from doing the video? So that's what was going on in my head. I'm the kind of person that I'm really good at anticipating the narrative. I'm really good at like creating something and kind of like anticipating how people are gonna react. I'm really structured in that element. So that was the battle in my head. Am I really gonna let people's comments stop me? And a part of me did do that video to raise awareness because I knew how people would react that aspect. But I'll be honest, like even after seeing the feedback, people still stop me in the streets, like telling me, Lil, after I saw that video, like I just feel like it's so okay now for me to like just admit that, for example, I was sad or I was depressed or just like to cry next to my friends. I'm like, yes, especially that it's cool in a way, you know?
Are you the kind of person? So I mean, these two gentlemen have spoken about the low points of their life, or in their career and whatnot. Is that? Would you say that was one of those?
That was nothing. No, that was like a walk in the park. I wouldn't say that was a low point at all. I've had multiple YouTube channels with over 100,000 subscribers get taken down. Channels that I had multiple people working with me on that I had to tell them, Isma, especially that it's gone. You guys have to go find somewhere else to work. But I think the most recent one was the one that stung the most. I used to run a media outlet called The Loop. It's not a plug anymore because it got suspended. And we were about 6-7 people. And one day I woke up and it got suspended. So I had no plan B for this. I was just literally just working on this, literally 24/7. For a whole year, I slept like 3 hours a day, at most probably. I was borderline losing it as well.
Why did you get suspended?
I still don't know to this day.
So who suspended you?
So Meta took
Meta.
down, yes.
Platforms.
Meta took down the
Because
media
unfortunately,
outlet
he depends on a platform.
on Instagram and Facebook. And to this day, I still don't have a reason why it got taken down. And when you're in that state, you're kind of like pointing fingers. You're like, is it competition? Is it that guy that he tried to screw me over? Was it this video? Was it that? But we never really got a reason. It was during the same time that I had just finished, just broke up from a 3-year relationship as well. And it was
You're
literally,
22, man.
it was,
What were you doing in a 3-year relationship?
I know, right? But yeah, it all happened so quick, and I was like so emotionally connected to this product that after all of this happened, I just didn't know who I was at all. I don't have a job, I have no media outlet, I have no girlfriend, even though I was still young. And I just got at this point where I was like, what do I do now? And I think the only answer is just create more. Like that's the only remedy, really. Just keep creating.
Wow.
It's amazing that at the age of 22, what he's achieved. That's
What this guy has
Fucking hell,
achieved.
man.
What I mean, I've had the
Amazing,
pleasure to
Appreciate
work
it.
with
Thank
him.
you so
I could
much.
barely tie my shoelaces at 22. Owning media companies was the last thing on my mind. I was a musician then, but what you've achieved this far is nothing short of amazing.
Thank you so much.
I mean, it seems like the kids these days live life at such a fast pace, and it's amazing. But the video which showed you crying, how many
Yeah.
views did it have?
I'll be honest, I'm not really like that on like numbers.
No, but how many? Give me rough ballpark figure.
I would say it has over 100,000 views for
100,000.
sure.
How many people commented negatively?
On the video, I'm sure there were a couple.
A couple. So what? Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? I truly believe. I don't want to sound negative, but envy in Malta is a national sport, right?
For sure. But
And-
I'd be honest, like a side of me, there's this side of me where I kind of look forward sometimes to the hate comments. If I post something that doesn't get any hate, I kind of scratch my head. I'm like, "Lula, did I do like something a bit wrong here?" Because I want people to like
Controversy.
comment
You need the
first,
controversy.
and then I want them to realize what they did wrong, because that's impact.
Yeah.
Like, Illa Briefcase, man, he's such a pussy. He's crying on video. And then after realizing he's not a pussy, like he's being vulnerable, he's being strong. That's impact, like making people realize that. it was
So
strong.
when you were going around giving money, so who were you? How were you choosing the recipients of your
Yes,
generosity?
For the most part, was people that were younger.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, I wasn't really the most
Younger, he's 22. Right? In the old days.
in my childhood, let's say this. In my childhood, I had a good upbringing, but I wasn't in the richest family. So I know what it's like to not really have money at all. Like I would struggle to like even just like have a pair of shoes, really. So I know what it's like for people that are young, that legally can't even get a job and they don't have money. So those are the people that I was going for. When I was young, I was kind of obsessed with like Spider-Man and stuff.
Okay.
And it's like the mask and
Okay.
me being anonymous. And I just always had this dream of being a hero for someone, like being someone's hero. It was always like a fantasy. And I like what you talked about, manifestation, because I remember like when I was young, I used to look in the mirror, I used to fantasize about Spider-Man, and I always kind of had an idea of the way that the briefcase man mask would look. I would look in the mirror and I would just imagine it in my face. And it's so crazy because I feel like if you can imagine it like so vividly in your head and like you can feel it, you can do anything really.
So New York didn't manage to unmask Spider-Man, but Malta.
Malta did.
It's fun. And
Briefcase Man.
Yeah, and there were. I mean, when Briefcase Man was still a mask, there were a number of things that frustrated me.
Right.
You know, seeing people spit at him just because.
Spit? Why?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't follow. So I mean, it was like I said before, my sons brought this to my attention.
Right. There were a lot of things that
I mean,
happened.
spit at him for giving things away.
Yes.
I mean, what I mean, we're living in a crazy world, man.
Yep.
It's insane.
Honestly,
Then I remember people questioning, okay, where's he getting this money from? Like, okay, why is he giving it away? Because it's okay to be nice. It's actually nice to be nice.
it's so rare that
Interesting
people were
that
shocked.
it is very rare. It is very rare. I personally think that at a certain point, everyone who's involved in business, they should have an obligation to give back to society, especially the society that gave them so much. How to do it? I've chosen education personally, because rather than giving someone money straight out to buy a new pair of shoes, perhaps even giving them guidance on how to.
For sure.
And also, we as a company, why we direct our charity to Ethiopia. I do believe that in Malta, we're blessed in the sense that we live in a place where we have good education, which is free of charge if you want to.
100%.
And it's really, people who are letting themselves fall behind, perhaps, have to do what you did and look in the mirror instead of seeing Briefcase Man. They say mea culpa, because I mean, this is a country of opportunities. Really, we have great education, great healthcare, and there's no reason why you should fall fall behind.
I always say the story about Suni. I mentioned it earlier. I was meant to go and do some voluntary work in Ethiopia, and in the meeting we had about the possibility of going, they told us where you're going to be living. There's going to be hot water because Suni was here.
No, yeah, I mean,
It shows you made a difference.
the first time I went there, I had to do the ice bucket challenge on a daily basis. I mean, I go to Ethiopia with one of my bestest friends and oldest friends, Keith Marsh.
Yep.
You know, he's done some incredible stuff. He's carried the mantle from Dun George. And Keith has done so many amazing things, and it's a I'm proud to be of assistance to him, and so is all my company. But he sort of likes to rough it out a little bit too much for me. And,
but there is a genuine satisfaction from knowing that you are in a position to actually help, right?
yes, of course. I think if I had to write my autobiography one day, my success is in like even going to work and seeing. I mean, my management team have a combined tenure with the company, which is close to around 100 years. Some started with me in their late teens, 20. You know, they it's. I've been blessed that I gave opportunities to people who really paid me back in with interest, right? So, there was a movie once, Pass It Forward, something like that, you know? And I'm trying to show some gratitude for my blessings.
There's a lot that Browns do,
Yeah,
that you do, that
we
people
try.
out there don't necessarily.
We don't really
appreciate
talk
and
about, well, we don't
understand,
really
and
talk
it's-
about it, but
I think it
just
should be
talking about.
highlighted though, because you don't have to do it.
No, you don't have, but you don't have to. It's all,
Without
we
of
know,
course.
we know.
Then that's all that matters.
You know.
That's beautiful.
The
though.
problem is that I agree. I think the world needs more good stories out there.
100%.
We're living in a very toxic world, and I think we need to celebrate the good. But then the problem is when we try to celebrate the good, we wonder
Why
we're celebrating it, and
Yeah,
why
yeah, yeah.
maybe is someone trying to get some sort of
Some
gain
mileage,
out of being nice?
yeah.
No, I mean, I know what it feels like when I do voluntary work. And I know that ticks a box that nothing else can tick.
I mean, I love winning in business, right? I love winning in general, right? That's what drives me. I love winning. But at a certain point, when it comes to material things, I mean, there's a point where the continued pursuit of material acquisitions becomes almost obscene, right? And I don't need another car, for example, I'm happy with mine.
But have we judged people as successful or not based on what they own?
Not always. You can look at people and not judge them, but status and achievements or association with the kind of people that they stay with is also success. If you had to look at examples like Jimi Hendrix, like we mentioned, or Tupac, they didn't die very rich. You're understanding me? I believe I saw something that Tupac died with like 5K in his bank account. You'd never expect that. Till today, people listen to
His
him.
estate must be doing well now, though.
Yes, fair, fair.
No. I mean, I think some people equate material possessions and the size of your bank accounts as.
But I have bought a 2,000 euro backpack because
Of course, so have
I like how it makes me
so
feel.
Have I. So have I. Why not?
There's nothing
Why
wrong
not?
with that.
And there is an element of me feeling successful knowing that I can
Is it long lasting though?
have that backpack on my back.
But the problem arises when you can afford to do that because you have reached a state of financial independence. The problem these days is that the pursuit of financial independence is becoming harder because before we get there, we're already buying this branded clothing. We want our nice car. We want our nice holidays. There was an interesting post a few months ago by what's his name? Sean Gravina.
Sean Gravina, okay.
Talking about the affordability of housing. And I thought about it, and it transpires that the ratio of mean house prices to mean salaries has been fairly constant across the last 10 years. So what's happening is that, and Maltese people were lucky because we live in a culture where it's acceptable to live with your parents for as long as possible. So you're essentially getting a rent-free, an interest-free loan from your parents, which would have otherwise gone for rent. So there's no reason why we should not be saving to accumulate enough money to pay a deposit. Other than that, people are pursuing your 2000 backpack before they have hit a level where they are financially independent. And it's all about keeping up with the Joneses, right? That's what they call it. And, so if my son is wearing a Dolce & Gabbana shirt, then, I don't want him to be less than other people. So sorry, the opposite. If someone else's son is wearing a Dolce, with my son is not. So that pursuit of perhaps these material purchases, which are really, feel good factor purchases. For you, it was it made you feel good to buy it, and why not? So you should have felt. But I think some people are jumping the gun and making their life
They're subscribing to a lifestyle they don't afford.
So they're making their life harder. So then it becomes, going back to success, it becomes even harder to achieve that financial independence. Then we have to complain, the cost of living is up, and the price.
So do you think people in Malta kind of over-complain, given the situation to 2026?
It's a national sport, right? We like, but in general terms, let's be fair. We have.
I think so.
We have
I
it
think
quite
people
good.
overcomplain.
We have it quite good here.
Yeah.
Right. We get stuck in traffic, but Malta's like a big city in my head, right? So go try driving through London.
Yes.
Same thing, right? So we love to complain. We
I have
good
friends of
complain.
mine- I have friends of mine that
We
own-
get it off our chest. Otherwise, I'd make more money selling.
For sure.
Rennie and stuff. It gives us heartburn. We have to complain, but that's I think part of our culture. When it's too hot, we complain it's too hot. When it's too cold, it's
True.
that's what makes us what we are. I think.
Do we feel that people are spending more time chasing success or chasing approval?
That's a good question, actually, because I think the approval.
Because I look at, for example, LinkedIn. And I think, and I know Zach is very active, for example, on LinkedIn. I mean, whenever I go into LinkedIn, there's usually something written by Zach, and you spend a lot of time generating content for LinkedIn.
I love it.
Explaining what you do and whatnot. Now, I get why he generates content because he's a content creator, but you invest a lot of time into putting something out there on LinkedIn, which sometimes is a bit like the Instagram for people in business. It's like the professional Instagram. Why do you do it? Why do you spend so much time? Why do you invest so much time? Are you looking? I'm gonna be a bit of an idiot here. Are you like looking for approval?
No, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I read a really good book called Show Your Work, and it gave me so much confidence that it made me start sharing my work. And that is a big part of my life. The internet and sharing content is so important. So I treat it, I kill two birds with one stone. I get really curious about something that I want to learn. At this point in time, it's AI. And I have gotten so good at generating AI stuff. Like, it's ridiculous. So I am treating it as I am generating stuff. I try to do something useful, so I put it out the world. And at least it means something, not like it's just cool. And I share it. And I share what the idea is behind it, maybe what I used, maybe the process.
What are you looking for? Some sort of validation when
No,
you do it?
it's if I'm doing it anyway.
Are you reading the comments of what people are saying, how they're engaging with your stuff?
I'm going to be honest, yes, there are sometimes where I read comments, and there are sometimes people who react badly to certain things, which to me, I say, wow, okay, everyone has a different perspective. And I've learned over time not to respond to certain comments. But no, I wouldn't say I do it for approval. I do it as a form of developing my skill.
But have you highlighted what you might describe your failure, for example, on LinkedIn? Have you highlighted failures?
I have mentioned the shop. I mean, I post very regularly. I try to post once a day.
I know.
It's a
he
task.
constantly shows up on my feed. I'm like, Zach's keeping himself busy.
And in fact, I say every single day, what am I going to share that is useful today? That's it. But I'm sure I have failures that I have mentioned. Like, one of them is doing this daily content has really built a lot of confidence in me. And it has also helped me detach from the outcome, because you realize to be, you must do. And in order to do that, what you create, you are greater than the content you create. So there was a time where that character, I really wanted to explore different worlds of artists, to hone my craft, to get better at art. And every single day I got the iPad just like that, and I started doing a drawing a day. And I started drawing this character in different worlds of different artists, exploring their style. Because at that time I had this dilemma that an artist needs to have a style. And I felt like I didn't have one. So my solution to that was create a container to be consistent, but to be inconsistent. So I can have a brand, which is a character. And I started doing these drawings. I started growing a following. I made friends with people I still speak to today. And then I got that one guy who sent me an email. I was super excited when I opened the email, and he filed an IP claim saying that I infringed in his copyright. I was like, why?
He's a guy you looked up to.
I looked up to him. I stopped following him. I completely disrespect him. I told him, Gary, dude, did you read the post I was giving? I wrote a small statement how much I appreciate his work. I thought, I'm not selling this, I can do fan art and give you appreciation. And he told me, reread my comments. I told him, okay. I removed the post, and I lost all respect for this person.
Wow.
I told him, so you don't accept fan art? He told me no.
How important is validation to you from those around you?
I mean, I shied away for many years now from posting much content on social media. So, and that helped me a lot, I stopped wasting time scrolling, seeing what people think. Validation amongst my peers, people who I would, I can accept criticism from people I would seek advice from, right? I don't accept it from anyone. So I suppose the validation of my peers, I've surrounded myself with very, very good leadership team, very good people. So I accept criticism from my people. And I also like their validation as well.
Because validation to you is very important.
Yes. It's a blurry
cried.
line as well. It's a blurry line though, because it's like, I'll be honest. Again, like I told you before, I have this thing where I don't mind being hated. I'm a very competitive person. If someone doesn't like me, I kind of wish for them to not like me because it makes me push more.
So you don't try and win them over. If someone tells you they don't like you, you're not trying to convince them otherwise.
I think my ideal dream would be someone hating me and then they realize they don't have to hate me. And down the line, they start liking me. That's what I dream about.
He wants to set up a cult.
Maybe something similar.
Convert people into...
That's what I like the most. When someone stops me of any age and they're like, Stra, in the beginning, I didn't like you. I'm not going to lie when you posted that video crying, but now I kind of like you. That's how I would want it to be, ideally across the board. So validation, it's a very blurry line because I do care how the videos do. I'll be completely honest. I do care how the videos do. If the video doesn't really do well, that means the next video can't be as good because I can't reach as many people. I can't help as many people.
If someone tells you, if someone you respect tells you a video you've put up is shit.
Someone I respect, is he better than me though
Let's
at
say
content?
Mr. Beast. If Mr. Beast had to
100%, I'm going home and I'm crying. Because he's better than me though, that's the thing.
Okay.
So if it's, I'll be honest.
If you accept criticism from people you would normally seek advice from. So
Exactly.
Mr. Beast was his mentor, so...
That's like Bible for me,
Yeah, it's natural that he would...
But then are you linking how successful you feel about what you're achieving based on other people's validation?
No, but when say you're setting your business in a particular strategic course, the validation is not only sought after, but it's needed to make sure that you can have this great idea that really is nothing, and having it validated by people who know what they're doing is actually vital to the process.
It's feedback.
It's the right. I mean, validation for him. Validation is feedback on his videos. For me, if I have I'm setting the company on a new course, having the idea validated is very important. I don't have to be told how great I am to have come up with the idea, but having it say, oh, that makes sense. That's validation for me. It's very important, because otherwise, if I'm the only one who thinks that this will work, it's not going to work for sure.
Viva la vita,
Live every moment. The refreshing Italian taste of Peroni Nastro Azzurro. That's full of life. Peroni Italia.
There's the designer one, color, craftsmanship, handles, hubby cooking. Wow. Good thing we came to Satariano. We didn't just dream it, we got it. Satariano, quality kitchens at prices you'll love.
Can we look at someone who's, I don't know, I'm going to speak round numbers now. Can we look at someone who's earning 40 grand a year and say, yes, that person is more successful than somebody earning 400,000 a year?
You look, if someone's earning, for me, I have a background. I wanted to pursue a completely different path when I was young. I have a friend, a dear friend, who is quite close to your example, and I really admire him because he persisted, he pursued his art, and he never wilted, he never went to look for a job, and I have a huge sense of admiration for him. So in my eyes, I would say by most measures of mine, he's more successful than I am.
Okay.
Because, I mean, it's great to be able to make a living pursuing your passion. And then 40,000, 400,000, you adjust your outlays.
If you just won overnight a ridiculous amount of money, meaning you never need to work again, though, would you do it?
I never need to work again, but I would die if I don't work. I could stop.
Goes back to the addiction. that we're
Exactly.
talking about.
You know, I want to work till the last day I'm here, and I'm planning to stay here for a long time.
So do you see yourself being at a time ever where you're like, okay, you know what, I'm done with
No,
being an
and
artist.
I also see it in my dad. My dad recently retired, and like every once in a while when I go check them out at the house, I see him running around. He's always up to something. Right now, his biggest obsession is working on his boat. How do I explain it? Once you stop and you stop moving, that's when you start getting old and things start going downhill.
Yeah, I mean, we're living longer now, so we need to. I mean, I'm really sad when I see people complain about the possibility that the retirement age is going to go up. Why wouldn't you want to work? Why would you want to just stay home with the wife, you know, and or whatever? Why wouldn't you want to work? Why wouldn't you want to train your brain? Your
But
brain's a
maybe those
muscle.
are people that have jobs that they don't really like, that they hate. Because you guys, and me included, we love our jobs.
Yeah.
Like there's a sense of passion.
Yeah, but you can do other things maybe in your retirement. But let's say you can pursue something else. I don't know. I mean, my dad was a school teacher, and he continued teaching up to the age of 70. He continued writing the matriculation paper for the subject he taught until the age of 70. Once he stopped, you know, he went downhill so quickly that, you know, I wouldn't want to risk it. I don't think, you know, if you think about it, anyone can stop working. You know, it depends on how, okay, I'm going to call my dad again. If you have 99 cents of outlays and €1 of income, you can stop working. So anyone can, but why would you want to do that? It's you know, but maybe you're right, Gabe. Maybe, you know, if you're, you know, working in construction every day.
I think that's where people go wrong,
yeah.
though. Because
Yeah.
like you can do anything really.
Yeah, and going back to what I mentioned before,
But then we're also saying that success is intrinsically linked as well with career, with work, or feeling successful.
More than career, I think it's more purpose. Because even though like how I'm going to be very particular, because when I have a laptop around me, I will end up working, and my problem is I call it work, and it's not work, because sometimes even just being curious and exploring or reading or getting into self-development, if it's in front of a computer, it's considered work, but it's not. I think what it really boils down to is if money can buy more freedom, and let's say people can have more freedom, at least I would be investing more in purposeful work, things that make me feel like they make me feel alive. You're understanding me?
Yeah, I mean, with my business, I mean, honestly, it does not need me to be around. It literally does not need me to be around anymore. The local business certainly doesn't need to. But that's why we've sort of expanded our geographical purpose, so to speak, footprint, because I wanted to feel useful again, because part of,
You wanted to dream again.
Yes, I'm back to being an entrepreneur again. I've rediscovered my entrepreneurial juices, and that's honestly, that's filling I'm excited for tomorrow, right? And Zach, sometimes when you're actually discovering things, it's not work, but it's, every time you're learning something new, you're preparing for a better tomorrow, So,
Do you feel that as men, we say we don't compete with women, but when it comes to success, are we comparing ourselves to women? Like, Gabe, would you be intimidated by dating a very successful businesswoman, for example?
Like a woman that's richer than me.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I had a phase where I was looking for them. Tough Keith, I can make more videos, help more people as well.
you should start like a Tinder version of this,
Not the worst idea.
I wonder if it already
down.
exists.
Find a rich
No,
part.
because men, at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, we do know we are we do position ourselves as the breadwinners.
I disagree with you that completely. I disagree with
These
you.
are big conversations I have with my girlfriend, for example.
I disagree with you. I mean, I've been surrounded by strong women all my life. I disagree with you. Look, I think the only thing that we are truly superior in, when compared to women, is lifting things. In some cases, not in every case, right? I think women bring more logic to the table. They are more risk averse. So why compete? Why not? Surround yourself with capable people, and whichever the gender, and
But yet again, 2/3 of business owners are men. Why is it only 1/3 that's women? Then
I think it boils down to risk aversion. That's what I think it is. There's another argument. Why do fewer women go into politics, right? Perhaps women don't need the validation men thing, because
that's why I was linking success to validation earlier.
But I think it's
maybe women don't feel the need. They have to open up a company to feel successful.
When I look back to me at 28, and the risks I took, and perhaps if I had a more sort of structured, risk-averse approach, I would have never started. And I think the difference between men and women is down to risk aversion. I think men, wanting to be I'm a man, they normally don't analyze risk as well as women.
I feel very blessed. My partner is very successful at what she does, and she really inspires me. I mean, I don't know how she manages to do what she does. She runs a very successful advertising agency, a branding agency, and she takes care of 2 kids amazingly. She's an inspiration. So like I'm used to having powerful women around me, my mom included. I mean, she did a great job. She raised 4 kids. You know what I mean? But I empower women. I mean, it's.
You clearly need to have conversations with these guys if you're looking for a powerful woman in your life.
It's true.
I've employed many.
That's your Tinder, I think.
There you go.
But even guys, honestly, it really helps when you have a partner and you get to go home to them.
Yes.
And you know what I mean? They don't really like, listen, shut up, don't talk about work.
But I don't like. Do you like to take? No. When I open the door at home, I want to go to my happy place, to my peaceful place. You continue.
But for him, it doesn't feel like work, like you said earlier. I think that's
It's a lot of it.
I don't
In
like
fact,
to talk shop. In fact, my wife gets sometimes very pissed off that I don't share some of the. But what's she going to do? She's going to help me solve them in many ways. But no, I don't like carrying on my day at home.
You spoke about risk aversion earlier. Are there moments where maybe the fear of failure holds you back, though, from doing something?
So I mean, that fear of failure, fear of rejection are the two
Sure.
things that hold people back, right? At the age of 55, those fears, I was fearless when I was younger, you know. I didn't care if I failed. I didn't care if I get rejected. There's another thing, I don't know if you know about prospective loss aversion. People, human beings value a loss twice as much as they value a gain. So,
Okay.
yeah, so failure in this sense, you know, putting money out of your pocket is going to cost me a bigger loss. So, as you grow older, I think, especially coming from, I built the business, right? So me and Rob built the business from nothing, and the fear of losing what you created sometimes does so rear its ugly head, and I could have taken some risks that maybe I held back from.
Now, you know, as I get older, I get more. The fear of failure affects me less. I think when I was younger, I was more scared of failing, of being portrayed as some sort of failure. Nowadays, I say, you know what? I'm going to give it my best shot. And at the end of this, I'm going to say, I tried.
Yeah,
I gave this my 100%. Now I say it. In the past, I would almost overthink something. Now I'm like, listen, if I tried to do something that didn't work out to 100%, I know I gave it my very, very best.
That's a great thing to a great way to see it. But fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of loss, it's what holds people back from leading a very empowered life.
For me, I feel like it's totally the opposite. I feel like I'm so terrified of failing that I don't like. I feel like I've made a promise to myself that I succeed in the specific project, right? And now, if I don't
But is there somebody you're trying to
myself,
prove wrong?
or no, like if I already believe that I can do it and I don't go on to do it, I feel like I'm less of a man. But with myself, it's like a dialogue that I have with myself. So I'm really like terrified of failing, I'll be honest. But that's what makes me like strive. And maybe we're wired differently. But
You're younger than me, right? You
Yes.
know, you should be fearless in many ways, but
But that's exactly what I was saying before earlier.
I have
because
nightmares of
when
me
I
failing.
when I decided to want to work in media, and that was 27 years ago. It was, I'm not going to say unthinkable, but almost unthinkable that someone earns a living in Malta in media. And my parents did not stop me or
That's
tell
amazing.
me. So they actually supported me. So I found myself saying, but now I have to succeed because they've actually told me, go for it. So because they let me dream, I almost felt the pressure
Yeah.
that now I need
make
to
it
show to
work.
them that I can actually make it work. And that was the fear of failure that I'm nowadays. I've done enough, I think, to have won them over. And even if now I have maybe something that doesn't go exactly to plan, I'm not worried about looking at my parents and what they might think of me, never mind my peers and whatnot. I mean, ultimately, family, you know?
But is it ever internal? Like that fear of failure? That's like you're failing yourself, not your parents or your friends. Because that's how it is for me, I'll be honest.
I wonder. I'm a twin. So for me, there's always a direct comparison to my other half.
Sure.
You know, whenever whenever one of us does something, you know, I mean, you automatically look at the other one and say, you know what, win on this side, you know. And I'm very happy to see my brother be a very successful person at what he does. But at the same time, I do look at my brother and I say, oh, okay. I mean, being a twin doesn't get more level playing field than it is, you know.
sure.
So automatically, that's pressure.
And it's really nice to hear both your sides. Like you're more of like, for example, it's like your words, as in you stick to your words
Yes.
to kind of like build to it. And it's like yours, Frank, is kind of like you don't want to regret it, so you take on the opportunity, like working in film.
Now, yes. Now I go for it. Now I have no fear of failure. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And then we'll deal with it. Then we'll
but that's
continue.
because you're in a position to do so now. You're a successful man. You know, you've achieved that independence we spoke about before. So you can afford to take a loss. You know, I mean, so that gives you more confidence. And I think that's why you're able to do that, which is great. It's great. That's what I mean when I say, we should all strive to lead an empowered life. That's what empowerment means. You take a hit, fine. I can.
And
I
I think
handle
that
it. Let's get on with it.
I genuinely think that defines success. Taking a hit and dealing with it, or
yes,
getting out of it, or overcoming that hit.
Look, we all have to face adversity.
It doesn't mean turning a loss into a profit at all. It's almost, if need be, you've taken a hit and admitting that you've taken a hit. Even that to me is a success. Even
taking
that is
hits is par for the course. You're going to take hits almost on a daily basis. They vary in degrees of severity, but that's life. That's life. Life is great, but it doesn't come without a few bumps along the way. And the way you deal with those hiccups, those bumps, is what defines whether you're going to be, going back to your title, successful or not.
It's like a growth mindset. You just learn from the fuck ups.
Yeah.
Just get better at least 1% the next time you show
And
up.
to me, learning from a fuck up is actually a type of success.
It's a great way to learn. Best way to learn is learning from other people's fuck ups, but yeah,
sometimes
it's a great way to learn. You have to look. I was two years ago. We were in Dubai for New Year's Eve, and my wife decided to get a shisha. And I have a very curious younger son, and the charcoal that he wanted to test how hot they are.
Oh my God.
And he actually grabbed one and really squeezed it, and the scream that came out of the boy's voice was amazing, but he still seems to justify his actions today, that he now knows that it's very hot, and it won't happen to him again,
For sure. It's the trial and error.
I'm all for trial and error, but there are trial and errors.
I think to conclude, success is what you want it to be in reality, right? It's a very personal situation. So my advice would be to educate yourself, think beyond success. What is your purpose? My purpose these days is making an impact. Now, making an impact for me could be, favorably influencing a meeting, making a contribution in a meeting. As always, bring your objectives down to little manageable bite sizes, and I think don't overspend, and you can lead a happy and successful life. Ultimately, that's what we all want to do. We're in the pursuit of happiness, right?
Pursuit of happiness. Gabe, how about you?
I want to thank you for inviting me over. It's been amazing. If I had to give a little tip for someone, just find something that you like, no matter how absurd it is. It could be the dumbest thing ever. And if you like it enough, just spend the rest of your life obsessing over it and getting the best you can. If you have the luxury of liking something and being half good at it, that's a miracle, because most people don't really get that luxury. So you just happen to like something and just be a bit good at it. Just obsess over it and try triple down on it. Don't really worry about money. Money will come. Money is just a byproduct of you being really good at something.
Yeah, great.
And that's something that I think I've learned. When I was young, it was unheard of that you make money from videos, social media. It was a taboo to even own a YouTube channel. People would look at me weird. I got bullied when I was in primary and in secondary for making videos. And I myself wasn't even aware that you could make money from it. Now I work with a media outlet, a radio station. I'm really happy there. So it's crazy how times have changed. Don't really think about the money. Get really good at something and the money will come. That would be my...
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a very good one.
Amazing, Gabe.
Cheers.
Firstly, I want to say, I'm really happy to actually get to know you guys and hear your vulnerabilities.
Same here. It's been
your
amazing.
successes. It's nice to have these conversations. From my end, what I can say about success, I think if there's someone that's young or maybe older, I think you kind of owe it to yourself to at least try. If you're passionate about something, at least try and see how far you can take yourself. If it doesn't work out, at least you tried, you won't have any regrets. And I'd say there are 3 things to watch out for, at least talking from experience. Watch out for ego, because it gets in the way.
Yep.
Second, fuck up fast as you can, because blind spots are a thing. they're probably the second thing that are stopping you from reaching whatever success is to you. That's it, guys. Thank you.
Perfect.
Easy.
Guys, thank you very, very, very much. I hope that over the past 1 hour, you've understood why I genuinely admire these 3 people in the room with me. Keep those comments coming, keep those reactions coming, and we'll see you again for the next one. Thank you very much.